Welcome to Warframe Wiki Wednesday. We're once a week. Actually, let me check my mic real quick. I apologize for that. But yeah, once a week we cover testing 1 2 perfect. Once a week we cover a particular topic. And for today, I wanted to cover the Helminth system, as it is the knight in shining armor to Warframe players. It is a very special and enjoyable little thing that you have to unlock. You get it from the Heart of Deimos. On completing that, and ranking up, you get this little thing that you can slap back here. But I think this is a hot topic, and we should just jump right in. So, the Helminth system. Let's go ahead and get into this wiki. First off, they say disgusting. It is not operator. Orders would enjoy purging this. Unclean this room, but sadly, vile mass services and all this extra stuff. Alright, anyway, let's jump into what it actually is. Helminth is a being residing in the Helminth infirmary of the Orbiter, behind a sealed door that requires special access methods to enter, which is this thing, right? The Helminth is the being responsible for the ship's biological functions, namely the behind-the-scenes repair and maintenance of the warframes. While the infestation in the room as a whole is probably part of the Helminth itself, the main body of the Helminth can be considered the big mouth attached to the back of the wall, which it uses to swallow resources. The Tenno can interact with the Helminth core functions by having their warframe sit down in the infested chair in the center of the room. Not really going to get into the... Let's see. There we go. I don't really want to get into the cyst, but I guess I'll cover that just momentarily. So a Helminth room becomes accessible after obtaining a Helminth cyst from another player infected, or by equipping Nidus. At the center of the Helminth infirmary is a chair that Nidus can sit on. Should the player choose to sit in a chair, in spite of Orders' process, a needle will inject the left side of Nidus' neck, and it will release it afterwards. This will infect him with the Helminth virus, and also awaken Helminth in the infirmary, triggering its communications to the Tenno. 24 hours after the injections, and a small peak-infested cyst will start to grow on the side of injection. I'm assuming the injection. The cyst will continue to grow in size until 7 days have passed, at which point it will be fully matured, as seen by the small tendrils sprouting from its surface, so on and so forth. Now, the Helminth. Now let's get. I want to talk about the Helminth system. So the Helminth has the ability to replace Warframe abilities with those of other Warframes, or even unique ones. It can be accessed through the Helminth infirmary in the Orbiter, requiring a Helminth segment purchased from the Sun in the Necrolist for 15,000 standing, and requires a mastery rank 8 and a rank of associate with the Entrati. Manufacturing requirements is 5,000 credits and some other things. I don't know the names off the top of my head. I do deeply apologize. Once the segment has been built, though, the Helminth infirmary will be permanently open, even without the cyst, and the ability to fast travel to the Helminth becomes available. Upon sitting on the chair to install the segment, the players opted to name the Helminth. The Helminth can be freely renamed using the console to the left of the entrance, which is this guy. Customized. You can rename him right here. Booyah. My Helminth's name is Fred. Mechanics. Anyway, subsuming warframes. Subsume your warframe into the Helminth system, learning one of its abilities. Let me go ahead and tap on this. Warning, your warframe will be consumed in the process. So, the in-game description is any built non-prime, non-Umbra warframe can be sacrificed to the Helminth, freeing any inventory slot while doing so. After 23 hours, the sacrificed warframe's subsumed ability will be available for use through the Helminth system. This permanently unlocks the ability to replace another warframe's ability with said subsumed ability without having to sacrifice another warframe of the same type. For example, sacrificing a single mag warframe will unlock her subsumed ability pool to be used in any other warframe. Note that the warframe does not have to be at max rank in order to be subsumed. Only one warframe can be subsumed at a time, and the process can be rushed for 50 plat on PC. Right now, we are getting it at, I want to say 29.0.6, which is the one that's coming. We'll be able to rush are subsuming, so that it is coming, but PC should have it by now. There's also a limited number of subsumed abilities that Helminth can hold, which can be increased by the Helminth's metamorphosis rank, which is this guy up here. So as you can see, once you get it, you get 3 slots, and then once you hit rank 4, you get 10 slots, and then once you hit rank, where is it? You hit rank 7, you get 20 slots, and then once you hit 10, you get unlimited slots, which means you can put all 40 something out, however many frames in there, as you wish. To subsume a Warframe, the currently equipped Warframe must be brought to the Helminth Infirmary. Sitting on the chair will prompt a option to subsume Warframe with a note that the chosen Warframe will be consumed. Selecting this option will display the Warframe being sacrificed and their ability being taken, and prompts the player to confirm, to type confirm to confirm the subsuming. Once fully subsumed, a lotus flower with its colors matching the sacrificed Warframe will appear in the infirmary. If no colors have been modified, the flower will use the Warframe's default colors. So, what this is showing... Yo, what's good, Demon Gozer? So basically for this, as you can see, I have Defy, I've got Fire Blast, I got, I don't know, Roar, Smite, whatever, right? And then I'm actively subsuming Sleep for Equinox, right? So, as you can see, I still have 20 hours left. I cannot subsume another Warframe. The Helminth can only subsume one Warframe at a time. That is true. Each one does use unique amounts of different resources per ability. The majority of them so far, or the popular ones I should say, use Bile, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. For example, Roar uses a ton of Bile. Smite does not use Bile because it's not a popular one. But Defy, Defy doesn't. Okay, that was a good one. But what was the other one? It was Dispensary. Dispensary uses Bile. So I believe those top 4, I want to say, so far what it's looking like is using Bile. Let me go ahead and show you the flowers. So right now I have Wukong, Oberon, and Ember, and something else. But yeah, so as you can see, the flowers spawn. They spawn in random locations, but this was my first one. And then I'm not sure if there's a particular order, but as you can see, the flower petals have a color, the energy has a color, so on and so forth, right? And then it's subsuming Equinox, as you can see, which looks a little weird, but you know, effects, right? Let's see, was that everything that they talked about in that part? I wish I could show you what subsuming looks like, but it's extremely straightforward. You guys should have no problem at all doing this. Now, feeding the Helminth. All right. In order to subsume a Warframe or replace Warframe abilities with a subsumed one, the Helminth must be fed a certain number of resources from different categories to start the process. Almost all resources in the game can be used to feed the Helminth, which are then converted into specific secretions, which are then spent for various Helminth functions. Different resources generate different types of secretions, which are consumed when feeding the Helminth, right? So they have a list on the wiki, but it's pretty straightforward when it tells you. So if I wanted to say, let's say I wanted to do Defy, right? Now I would go to, you hit R2 to get there. I'm not sure exactly what it is on PC, but when you're going to do this part, it's going to show you what you're missing. You simply click a category, and if it's got a full green bar, it's going to give you a bonus of 30%. If it's a partial green bar, it'll give you, what is that, 18%. It'll give you like 20% also, things like that. If there's no icon on it, then it'll just give you 15%. Whereas if it's red, then it'll only give you like 3%. That one's giving me 5% because it's not all the way at the bottom. This one would only give me, oh, well, that's, okay. Well, either way, if that red icon is completely full, it'll only give you like 3%, which is pretty bad, right? You have to sort through your things that you need to figure out what you actually are going to need, and it will give you that particular thing. So here I'm going to choose that one, and we're going to do, I guess, Tellurium, and then we'll do Salvage, and then we'll do Galleon for whatever, and then I guess Alloy Plates, right? So that's cool, and I'm just going to hit Circle, and then you have the option to feed or cancel. I'm going to hit X to feed. Boom. So now that resource is now at 93%, which is one of the ones that I needed for Wukong, right? Calc X, we're going to do that one. As long as I'm allowed to do so. I might not have enough resources, but let's hope for the best. Let's do Rubido, and then Rockle stuff, and then we'll do the rest on this, because this doesn't take much. Alright, cool. So that's full. I'm going to hit circle, hit X. That one's full, and then we're going to do Biotics, which is, where is it? This guy. This one I think is a little pricey too, if I'm not mistaken. We'll do some of these, and we'll do some of these, and then we'll do some of, oh, it's full. Alright, cool. Hit circle, X, boom, right? So now when you're ready to put this onto your Warframe, I am going to infuse the ability by hitting square. I'm going to choose which ability I want to put it on. I'm going to hit square to confirm it. I'm going to choose what build I want to put it on. I can put it on multiple builds, right? So I know I want it on my CC build. I know I want it on these two builds. And then the other ones can just be the other ones, I guess. You know what I mean? Sure, because I don't need Fire Blast. So I'm going to hit that. It's going to poke me, stab me in the abs. Boom. And now I have Defy on this frame. Right? And as you can see, it consumed the relative amounts that it needed to consume to put that ability on. Right? Let's get back to this paragraph. The Helminth system. Okay. The Helminth has a preferred diet of resources that it wants, which affects the efficiency that the resources is converted into secretions, as you guys seen. Note that the Helminth starts out liking all available resources, and this is going to reiterate what I was just talking to you guys about the red and the green. A green, hold on, let me read this comment. Hola, senor. Hola. A green upwards arrow on a resource means that the Helminth prefers that resource, thus doubling the amount of secretions gained up to a maximum of 30%. A red downwards arrow means the Helminth has no appetite for the resource, significantly reducing the amount of secretions converted to a minimum of 3%. No arrows, or blank, means that the Helminth is neutral towards the resource, converting it into the standard amount of 15%. The Helminth will progress from liking a resource to neutral and finally losing its appetite if the same resource is fed to it consecutively, over and over again, right? Feeding order can also affect the number of resources that are converted. If the Helminth is fed a resource that it likes, feeding it a different or neutral or disliked resource will boost the conversion amount for them by a small amount, which is something that I kind of don't like. I'm going to try to give you a visual. So if I give it to this, right? Yeah, see, that didn't work. Let me try. I'm going to try because it's so hit and miss with some of these. Let's say I give it this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's say I give it this. There we go. You see how this one disappeared? Right? That will happen. And then let's say I give it this, right? These got lower. So that happens, right? I hit circle to cancel. So that's what they're talking about. Each one can affect each other in some cases, basically. Anyway, the maximum amount of any secretions is 100. Topping off will cause any excess to be wasted. So with that being said, it's recommended that you don't push it to 100% if you don't have to. You can if you want to, though. Anyway, over time, the Helminth's appetite for consuming certain resources will gradually increase as long as those resources have not been fed to it over the course of roughly 2 days, which I can attest to that. Injecting and replacing abilities. Alright, so once the Helminth subsumes an ability, it can replace any chosen Warframe's ability via an injection, as you guys saw. However, each Warframe ability can only have one subsumed ability from another Warframe per loadout, as you guys saw, configuration. Players can choose which mod configurations the injected ability can be used in. For example, blah, 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 as you guys saw. Right. Additionally, on Chroma, okay, hold on. Now, this part is, I believe, important. So, for example, an Excalibur Prime could have pull, replace Javelin, but only for the first mod configuration. This means that the other two mod configuration slots, the Excalibur can still have access to Radio Javelin, which can be replaced by different subsumed abilities or remain untouched. Additionally, on Chroma, alright, this is the part. On Chroma, Mirage, Rhino, Octavia, Zaku, well, pretty much those Warframes, the damage buffing abilities Eclipse, Roar, Zada's Whisper can only replace Vex Armor, Eclipse, Roar, Amp, and Zada's Whisper. Okay? Respectively. Okay? So, if you need that repeated, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. So, the frames are Chroma, Mirage, Rhino, Octavia, and Zaku. And their damage buffing abilities can only replace Vex Armor, Eclipse, Roar, Amp, and Zada's Wisp. You can only replace those if you're subsuming a Chroma into, like, let's say, like Rhino. It has to replace Roar, if that makes sense, right? Anyway, the appropriate Warframe Augment mods can be installed on the Warframe with the Injected ability, which is nice because I have, as I showed earlier, I have Shock Trooper and Smite Infusion on my Volt. Anyway, ability changes are reversible for no cost. Although Prime Umbra Warframes cannot be subsumed, they are able to be injected with the ability. As you can see, I have a Frost Prime here. Noted here, Frost Prime. Metamorphosis. This is the leveling system that is attached to it. Feeding resources, subsuming Warframes, and injecting abilities using the Helminth will upgrade its Metamorphosis rank. Each rank gained will increase the number of held subsumed Warframe abilities as well as unlocking a unique Helminth ability for use. Okay, and then it goes through the list of what you get. I'll talk about some of the experience that you'll need as a whole, but basically, you can just come in here, hit X, and see what level you got to hit. But I'll just read the numbers off to you so you just kind of know, right? So if you're going for, let's say, Mark for Death, you need 30,375 experience. If you're going for a complete unlock, you need 73,125 experience. If you really just want to get the 10 slots, you only need 15,750. And I kid you not, it really goes by a whole lot faster than you think, just from my experience. I'm already at 7, and I wasn't doing any kind of speed run or power leveling or nothing, and I'm already at, or 8 actually, I'm already at 8, and I wasn't power leveling nothing, like at all, to be honest with you guys. Anyway, so they have an activity, what is this? So, okay, here we go. So subsuming a Warframe gives you 1600 XP. Injecting a ability gives you roughly 8 XP per 1% used material, and it gives you, I'm going to say 7%. Roughly 7% XP percent gained. Now it says when you're feeding the Helminth, it's likely when it says that it's like to give you 200 XP if you feed it something that is neutron, 100 XP if you give it something that it doesn't like, which is 7, gives you 46 XP, and if you give it something that is completely red, which it hates, it gives you 20 XP. Naturally, because 3% 20 XP. 30% 200 XP, just makes sense, right? So long story short, what it looks and sounds like is it gives you XP depending on the percentage that you rank up. Long story short, at least that's what it looks like. And then it goes through some of the subsumed abilities, which we are more than aware of. As I saw, I didn't see anything necessarily new that DE hasn't talked to us about. Let's go ahead and jump into Secretions. Now, Secretions are unique Helminth abilities unlocked by ranking up through Metamorphosis. These abilities have their own stats and functions, allowing the player to customize their loadout further. Only one Secretion may occupy one ability slot in a loadout configuration at a time. Secretions also count as an ability replacement, preventing other subsumed Warframe abilities from occupying the same ability loadout. What they mean by Secretions, if I'm hearing this right, is something like this, right? Anyway, so Secretion abilities can be cast with the hotkey assigned to the ability slot. So if you put it on 2, it'll cast on 2. If you put it on 3, it'll cast on 3. Yeah, so they're talking about these, the ones that come with the Helminth. The ones that come from here are Secretions. Anyway, let's close that. And then it goes through some of the abilities. You guys have to let me know in chat if you want me to go through the abilities. I will more than happy go through these abilities, but it's quite a lot of text, so you guys have to let me know. But for now, I'm going to jump into notes and tips, and then I'll wait for you guys to respond if you want me to go through the abilities, because I will more than happy to do so. More than happy to do so. Anyway, notes. A fully subsumed Warframe will leave behind a lotus flower that inherits the color of the Warframe. The upper broad part of the petals, let's go over here so we can look at it. That way you guys just know. And we'll look at embers, for example. So this first one on the wall is ember. Alright, so that's ember. So a fully subsumed Warframe will leave behind a lotus flower that inherits the colors of the Warframe. The upper broad part of the petals, or the blade, uses the primary color. I wish I could get in a little bit closer. There we go. So the lower narrow part of the petals, or the claw, and the pistil uses the secondary color. The stem uses the tertiary color, which I'm assuming that's the stem. Accents and energy colors are not used. Okay. If subsuming completes while aboard the orbiter, the flower will not appear until the next time the player enters the orbiter. I've actually seen that. That is true. Excalibur Umber will use mind control when autonomous. Really? However, it will prematurely end if the player returns from operator mode or vice versa. So he'll actually use mind control out of nowhere. I don't know why that's a thing. Okay, whatever. Only Vex Armor, Eclipse, Roar, Amp, and Zada's Whisper are the damage buffing abilities concerned by the limitation of only one buffing ability per Warframe. For example, Saren can be infused with another damage ability while having Toxic Lash despite being a damage buffing ability. That's true, but it's not void damage. Also, it doesn't require the other damage abilities that are there besides Vex Armor, Eclipse, Roar, and Amp, those all require mods to function the way that they are meant to. Anyway, augments or abilities that boost the damage or add damage types to friendly units, such as Roar, or augments like Shock Trooper, will be applied to mind-controlled targets, significantly increasing the damage conversion during the invulnerability period, and adding damage not originally possible with Nyx alone. So, what that means is if you put mind control on Rhino, you can put a Rhino buff on your mind controlled, target, which is amazing. Are there any bugs? I don't see too many, but let's go ahead and go through some of them. The player can view the Sys in its fully matured form before the injection, before it's even 7 days old, when switching between Equinox day and night forms. If the player has been infected before completing the Glass Gambit, Helminth's lines will not play at all. There's a fix to it. I guess to fix this bug, simply have the matured Sys removed from Nidus's neck, leave the room and re-enter, and then it'll start talking again, or it'll awaken at that point. Sitting in a chair as Nidus may immediately trigger the removal of the Sys, despite him not having sat in a chair to receive. Okay, none of that really sounds like it makes a difference. Let's get into what actually happens. War Cry negatively affects mind controlled targets currently, even if War Cry is used after mind control. So if you use War Cry on a mind controlled target, you would think it would buff the speed. It doesn't. It's going to slow it down. And then Celestial Twin cannot use mind control. So if you put that on Wukong, he will not use that ability, which would be amazing, but I'm assuming it's because of targeting reasons, or I'm sure there's something why that's the case. I don't see anybody wanting to talk about the abilities, so that is fine. I'll just go ahead and name the abilities, and then if you want further information, that information will be on the wiki. It is a lot of information about these. I highly recommend looking into them. We have Empower, Infested Mobility, Master Summon, Rebuild Shields, Perspicacity, I guess? Okay, Perspicacity. Energize Munitions, and Marked for Death, and Expedite Suffering. So keep your eyes out for things like that. Familiarize yourself with some of these abilities. Some of them are a whole lot better than I actually thought they were initially. And that is pretty much the Helminth system in a nutshell. I almost want to say any questions, but yeah. Have inventory, sell inventory doesn't work. It totally does. You just have it, because you can't sell without having an inventory. The rest is up to you to sell it. That's another topic for another video, though. Alright, cool. Well, if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are having a good time farming this, or at least able to get it. If you're having any troubles, there are plenty of videos out there that'll help you get through it. Some of the niche things, if you have some questions about some of the niche things, I am actively searching for not ways around it, but more optimized, easy to work with types of farms to help you get past some of those things. And I will holla at you guys in the next piece of content. All right, love you guys. You guys take it easy. Peace. Woo!